What? Bang!
Whoa! Wrestling Podcast. Just when they think they got the answers, I change the question.
Rep, prove, rep.
Yeah!
Woo!
Who are you to doubt El Dandy? Because this guy's a serious professional.
Did he do it? Unbelievable!
Too hot to handle and too cold to hold. And I am Macho King Savage.
Shut your mouth, you thong-wearing fatty! I said WWE stands for! It's me, Austin! I will never retire!
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hey, yo, Pro Wrestling Podcast listeners, welcome to the show where we don't sing it, we bring it. Help us out and click subscribe to show your support. Hey, look, are you sick and tired of dropping $60 to $100 for the latest and greatest wrestling game? Stop immediately. Go to Wrestler Unstoppable, available totally free, where you can create a wrestler, sign contracts, get into storylines, headline PLEs, even build your own corporation from the ground up, all included in Wrestler Unstoppable, totally free. You got to go to app.wrestlerunstoppable.com, sign up today. Hey, look, are you looking to become a member of the Pro Wrestling Podcast family? You want your name in the shout-outs like John down in Texas? Then you got to pop over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/Pro Wrestling Podcast. Sign up today. And for this month only, loyalty rewards, $10 a month contributors get to co-host a show with me. $5 a month contributor enter into a drawing to do the same. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for this episode of the Pro Wrestling Podcast, coming off a very jam-packed episode of AEW Dynamite. We will get into all of that shortly. But before we get there, if there's something you want me to touch on, talk about in a future episode, something you just want me to address, the only way I'm going to know that is to give me a call at the Pro Wrestling Sound Off line, 267-642-1160. Let us know there. It's a talk-to-text service, and I will get to those questions, comments, or concerns in a future episode. Look, tonight's show stacked top to bottom, and what I really think is important is starting to flesh out the card for Redemption. It is obvious that they really, when you think about the amount of weeks that they have until Wembley, and you've got Redemption in between now and then, you gotta build both cards. It's almost like WWE with Saturday night's main event and SummerSlam coming up. Same kind of feel here. And it looks like they're putting together a very, very serviceable card for Redemption. Is it at the same level as Wembley? Certainly not. But Wembley, all in, that is their biggest show of the year. That's their WrestleMania. So makes a lot of sense. But it does look like the Redemption card is starting to come together and look really good. Tonight, we got to see several things. First off, I love the fact that we got to see the Death Riders. When I understand it's not the top members, it's not the Claudios, it's not the Moxleys, but we get to see Wheeler Yuta and Daniel Garcia challenge for the World Tag Team Championship going against Cage and Cope. Young Bucks looking on from the rafters. It's so blaringly obvious where we're going with this. We've been calling it for months. We're going to get to see the dream match, Edge and Christian basically versus the Young Bucks. And I just wish we were doing this, for Edge and Christian's sake. And I'm going to call him Edge. I'm sorry. I'm just am. It's so much easier than Adam Copeland. No disrespect to Adam Copeland. He's a wonderful talent, but I have been a fan of his for so long, calling him Edge so long. I'm just going to stick with Edge, okay? If that offends anybody, I apologize. It is what it is. We're going to get to see Edge and Christian versus the Young Bucks at All In, I'm sure. But this was a solid match to start the show. At the end of the match, of course, we're going to see, Cage and Cope get jumped. We're going to see the dogs come out. We're going to see Claudio Castagnoli come out, which little strange to see Castagnoli come out, the dogs come out. All this conjecture, it's so hard to figure out where the Death Riders fall in the grand scheme of things. Good guys, bad guys, heel, babyface. I don't know. But they come out, and you would expect that the Young Bucks would come out to the aid of Cage and Cope, but they don't. Instead, we see the Bang Bang Gang, and they come out, and they're trying to, make the save and get things calm down or whatnot. Very interesting. It's almost like the Young Bucks teasing with almost a heelish persona, which, I mean, look, they've done that before. They've been heels a good chunk of their time in AEW, but right now it seemed like they were going with the babyface perspective for, the last several months, and I thought they were going to stick with that, so we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. I also think it's worth noting that Claudio Castagnoli this week was doing an interview where he spoke about, recently released WWE superstar Sheamus, and talking about whether or not he wants to see him in AEW, and he made it clear that is for Sheamus to decide, for him to talk about, but he did mention that they have been working out together quite a bit, working out and training together, and he made a joke about getting their refereeing licenses and things of that nature, but I think it's obvious from the way he was talking, he would love to have Sheamus back with him. And let's be honest, Claudio, with the exception of his Ring of Honor championship win and the CMLL championship wins, hasn't done as much as I thought they would have done with him in AEW. I really think he could be AEW World Champion, just like I thought he could have been WWE Champion if booked differently. He's talking about a guy who could speak multiple languages. He's so articulate, so strong, so powerful, such a classy in-ring worker, top to bottom. Just hasn't happened. So, getting back to the card, though, after we get done with all the tag team craziness, there is a vignette in the back, or a segment with Renee Paquette, and Andrade is back there, and there's some interaction back there, and he has MJF's Dynamite Diamond ring, which I find incredibly interesting. That's an angle that obviously will play out over time. He is going to have a match tonight against Jack Doyle, which of course he's going to pick up the win. And it's going to lead to Mark Davis coming out. And Mark Davis is going to get in his face the current national champion. That is one of the many matches that are now set for Redemption. We're going to see Mark Davis defend the national championship against Andrade. There's a couple other matches for that. I mean, after this match is over, we get to see Kenny Omega come out. It's supposed to be like a celebration. The Young Bucks are there. They congratulate him on doing it on his own, basically. Will Ospreay comes out, also in a very positive light. And after that, we get Kevin Knight to the ring. And Kevin Knight has been asking for a World Championship opportunity for quite some time. And here he's throwing out the challenge for Redemption against Kenny Omega, who actually accepts the challenge. So that's another match we got booked tonight. Kenny Omega versus Kevin Knight for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship at Redemption, where Kenny Omega will walk in with the original AEW World Heavyweight Championship, the belt that they brought back now that MJF is no longer the champion. Kenny was talking about how it's been over 1,000 days since he's been champion and whatnot, and the Young Bucks are talking about how he's still the greatest wrestler in the world. When Kevin Knight ends up taking a cheap shot at Kenny Omega and then ducking out, he gets attacked from behind by Darby Allin. I feel like there's just so many cooks in the kitchen in this little... I know it's not a main feud heading into Wembley, but this is a big enough feud that I feel like there's just too many people. Every match tonight, I felt like there was just too many people involved in a lot of ways. So, yeah, definitely some interesting stuff. And it really doesn't stop there. Which, by the way, before I forget to say it, MJF, the word from Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select is MJF might be out for an extended period of time, taking time away from the company. I guess he's going to heal up a little bit or do whatever he's doing. But, originally was factored into Redemption and now may not be, and may be away from the company for the foreseeable future. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. I don't know where he would slate into the card at this point anyways, because I don't see them adding him to the World Championship match at Wembley. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But our next match for the night, we get Kyle Fletcher versus Commander, first defense of the International Championship. Of course, Kyle Fletcher picks up the win, and this makes me think back to when Dave Meltzer was having a conversation about how AEW creates new stars and all this other stuff, and how much better position people are in when they go to AEW versus WWE. And he was naming all these people, El Clan and Commander and all these. This is what you consider to be better than what they were already doing. Commander was a solid superstar act in CMLL, came to AEW, and basically has been a mid-carder who gets beat more frequently than he wins. So I don't know. I love that he's getting exposure. I'll give him that. I'll concede that point. But I don't think he's necessarily in a better spot on the card. He gets defeated here by Kyle Fletcher. There is a Don Callis family beatdown going on. Konosuke Takeshita comes out, which leads to Kazuchika Okada coming out. Now, I expect Takeshita to be gone because of the G1 Climax, which there's some shady business going on with the G1. I don't know if anybody heard, but Shoto Umino, who was one of the favorites to win, is out of the tournament because he suffered a concussion the first night of the tournament. So Takeshita may slot into a much better position in that tournament. I would not be surprised if they wanted to bring Okada over to fill the spot that Umino leaves behind. And it would tie into the feud that they have in AEW between Takeshita and Okada. Okada grabs the belt. It looks like he's going to hit Takeshita with the belt. There is an awkward moment where Kyle Fletcher wants the championship belt back from Okada, and Okada almost like hesitates to give it to him, which I think is very interesting stuff. And I think that would be a little quick to go from Takeshita Okada to Okada Fletcher. Like a big love triangle over the TNT Championship or the International Championship. I don't know. It's a little weird for me. Then we get into Darby Allin taking on Brian Cage. And look, I understand Darby Allin is one of your premium talents. He's one of your pillars of the company. But Brian Cage is a freaking machine. He is a monster. He just did an interview with Chris Van Vliet where he talked about not going back to WWE because of the outside ventures he could do and things like that. And I respect all of that. I love Brian Cage. He's a friend of mine on Facebook. He's very communicative, great guy. But here's what I fear. I fear that Brian Cage does not have the hunger and desire to be the world champion anymore. He did in TNA, but he did when he first got to AEW, and then he had that run with the FTW championship, which is a bunch of nonsense to begin with. But he hasn't been in a premium spot. And look, the guy's not getting any younger. I'd really like to see him get a championship run at some point with something of importance. I'd rather him than Mark Davis, but I don't know. But he loses here to Darby Allin, which I was not a big fan of. Just being honest, not trying to be a jerk. But just a little disappointed, that's all. We get to our main event, which on paper, to me, seemed like it was complicated to call. You've got the returning Willow Nightingale, you've got Maya World, you've got Hyan. They are taking on the Divine Dominion, which is Lena Cross and Megan Bayne, teaming up with Mercedes Moné. And I think on paper you can go real easy that the Divine Dominion and Moné are clearly have to win. But Willow just got back from injury, so you don't want to have Willow lose. Even if she's not the one taking the fall, you don't want her to lose a match. She just got back. Unfortunately, tonight, she did lose. They ended up pinning some, they pinned Hyan, I believe it was the one who picked up the pin. The Divine Dominion and Mercedes Moné win. Moné clearly getting geared up for her match with Tekla for the AEW Women's Championship at All In. I don't know who's going to play the role of the babyface in that match. Perhaps Tekla? I don't know. I actually thought they might pull a swerve and have her not challenge Tekla and instead go after Athena's Ring of Honor Championship, but I don't think that's going to happen at this point. But, I mean, all in all, solid card, top to bottom. I was a little surprised with some of the stuff. I am glad by the way, I forgot to mention this. We did find out that it will be the Painmaker gimmick of Chris Jericho going against the Psycho Killer of Tommaso Ciampa at Redemption. I think that's actually pretty cool to see the Painmaker gimmick again. So we got some solid matches for that show. We got the World Championship match. We got the Painmaker Psycho Killer. We got the Mark Davis and Andrade match. And I'm sure they're going to add more. I would not be surprised to see maybe the Dogs and Cage and Cope or something like that. Maybe a three-way with them and members of the Don Callis family. Maybe a four-way with Death Riders. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. They did announce some matches for Collision. I know there's going to be a match. They announced a six-man tag for next week's Dynamite, which is going to have Will Ospreay team up with Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega to take on Don Callis family members. I forget which members. It was Hechicero, Brian Cage, and I forget who the other one was. It might have been Jack Doyle or Mark Davis. I think it was Jack Doyle. The three of them in a trios match, which obviously Team Omega will win. But they're definitely doing some cool things. They're using a lot of talent. And like I said, it gets kind of repetitive having so many people come out and interfere in every single match. But I do understand it. I understand where they're coming from, what they're trying to do, and I have no problem with them trying to make sure that everybody gets an opportunity on the show and that everything's still entertaining. That's all the time we have for this episode. Check back with us next episode to run down the latest wrestling news and rumors. Special thanks, as always, to Suno for creating the music and sound effects we use in our show. Hey, look, are you thinking about bringing a new friend to family game night? It's really easy with the game Sketchy, people. Showcase your artistic side in this game from Beezle Games by going to thegamecrafter.com and picking up your copy today. If you're looking for your next career move, you're considering college, university life, maybe you just need some formal training for the next career decision, go to our website at frolifeplanning.com for all your higher education needs, because Fro Life Educational Planning is for today, for tomorrow, and for life with Fro Life. I'm Fred Froelich, better known as Dr. Fro. I want to thank you for taking some time with us today. Until next time, take care, everybody. Have a great night.